Please welcome the top three finishers for the Shell Belgium Grand Prix. First for Red Bull Racing, Sebastian Vettel. Second, also for Red Bull Racing, Mark Webber. And third for Vodafone McLaren Mercedes, Jenson Button. Congratulations, Sebastian, on your first Belgian Grand Prix victory. A comfortable victory in the end, but how comfortable was it, given the concern before and in the early stages of the race as to how long you could make the soft tyre last?
Yeah, I mean, we had obviously a lot of concerns going into the race after the damage we had on the tyres from qualifying. So we weren't quite sure and actually took quite a lot of risk. We had reason to be confident that it should be fine, but you know, if you never really know, and there's no one walking up and down in the paddock giving you a guarantee. So yeah, we didn't feel too comfortable and stopped. Both of us stopped fairly early, I think, right at the beginning of the race. And yeah, you know, the main target obviously was to see how the tires feel after a couple of laps, and yeah, to go from there really. Not thinking too much about the outcome, but surprisingly the pace was very, very good in the race. I was feeling very comfortable in the car, and without too much effort in the beginning I was able to keep up with the guys and get back into the lead. So halfway through the race, then after the safety car, it was crucial to get back in the lead, jump Fernando, pass him and build a gap, which obviously made it more comfortable towards the end of the race. But as I said, it was more management than usual. But I have to say the car worked brilliantly, and I think compared to previous years, we were very competitive. So yeah, I'm very, very happy with the result and very happy with the race, how we managed the tires in particular. So I think we need to learn from that, and yeah, now head down to the next race.
Mark, congratulations to yourself for second place and a great recovery after a slow getaway at the start.
Yeah, start was shocking. Drop the lever and anti-stall come immediately. I think Seb also had a very close call as well to trigger anti-stall, so that was a very disappointing way to start the Grand Prix. So on the back foot from there, knowing that we were going to stop early, as Seb said, our tyres are pretty badly, you know, damaged after qualifying, so we needed to get rid of that set quite early. So when I was back in the pack, I saw Santa and a few guys in turn one, you know, smashing each other up. So it was important to get away from that scene with everything still intact, and that was the case. So we made the first stop, had a bit of a fight with Fernando. He had very good grip on the option initially on his stint, and then I could stay with him had a very, very, very long stint on the prime tyre, and the tyre was completely finished at the end, but that gave us track position back, and we had a bit of a stuff up on the radio. I was supposed to pit when Seb did with the safety car, but we had a completely blocked radio. I was asking 3 times in the bus stop, do you want me to stop, do you want me to stop? And I gave him the radio back, but I heard nothing, so stayed out. Saw Fernando stayed out, so a little bit of confusion, but all in all I think the way the team handled the problems we had yesterday, overnight and this morning, to credit to Adrian and all of his crew, all the guys on the floor, see Christian as well, and you know, it was not an easy Grand Prix for those guys on the pit wall today. Watching the 2 drivers out there, you know, was reasonably you know, sensitive for them. So in the end we got a good result, and yeah, would have loved to have had a normal Grand Prix, but anyway, it's still a you know, enjoyable race and got a good result.
Jenson, let's turn to you. Has to be an enjoyable race to go from 13th to 3rd. Talk us through a dramatic start and a dramatic end.
Yeah, I think if I'd stayed in 13th after the start, it would have been a lot easier to challenge these guys, but it was mayhem. Turn 1, I think it was caused by the cars at the front getting a poor start. After turn 1, I think the Rista hit my rear wing. We made contact and it damaged the rear wing, so half of the rear wing end plate was gone. And then driving after turn 1 to Eau Rouge, somebody's front wing flew off and went through my front wing and took the wing mirror off, which was a bit scary. And then I was really struggling for grip. I said, guys, you know, there's the front wing's damaged. They said, we know it is, but keep going until we get to lap 5. And we did. We came in, changed the front wing, put option tyres on and did the rest of the race on option. But a fun race, lots of good overtaking. Really enjoyed it out there today. But you're always going to say what could have been. But all in all, a good finish to get on the podium. It's good to finish here, you know, after Seb drove in to me last year and we didn't finish.
Yes, no problems driving into anyone this year for you, Seb. And Mark touched on what a difficult race it was to make the strategy calls, and Red Bull got it right for yourself there. Did the safety car come out at the right time for you, allowing you to pit at that moment?
Well, I would say yes and no. I mean, obviously, we could get the stop and not lose too much. But on the other hand, I was, I think, 6 or 7 seconds in the lead at the time, so we lost the lead and lost that gap we had. So I don't think it made a big difference in the end. Fortunately, with the new regulations we have, there's, very few possibilities that someone really gains a big advantage. But all in all, I agree with Jensen. It's good to finish the race and not to crash this year. When I came close to him, I was going to target to pass him at the long straight, not into the chicane. So just to make sure. But no, all in all, it was a really fun race with plenty of overtaking due to the strategy we both had to go through. So a lot of cars that we had to overtake. But as I said, the car was fantastic. The pace was there, and that's why I think we are sitting up here now.
And Mark, you mentioned the problems with the radio. Did that compromise your race from a victory point of view? Had you been able to come in when you wanted to? Was the win on?
Well, it's hard to say if I could have obviously had a fight with Seb through the middle part of that race. Obviously, I would have. I don't even know how I would have come out, how close behind him, whatever. I mean, I probably would have been probably behind Nico or whatever. I don't even know how it would have rolled out after that safety car, but probably was the better way for us to finish the race maybe by pitting with that safety car, but we didn't know how good the prime tyre was going to be. So, I need to look at it. It was a problem that we had, obviously, with the safety car, that they wanted me to pit, but we didn't. So we had to make it work by staying out and going very, very, very long, and in the end it wasn't a disaster either. So that's what happened.
And Jensen, not a disaster for you this race, but for your team, not the best weekend, given the strides you've made in the development race before Spa. To see a Red Bull 1-2 must be disappointing.
Yeah, very. I've all weekend the cars felt great. For me, the balance here has been phenomenal in wet, dry, intermediate conditions. It felt like we'd made a step forward from Hungary even. So to just come away with a third is disappointing. But then you got to take everything else into account, and the misunderstanding yesterday in qualifying, and also these guys were very fast and they did a very good job. So who knows what would have happened if we'd qualified well? But all we do know is that these guys got more points than us today. So hopefully in 2 weeks we can turn it around.